Kutztown Live. KUR's campus and community interest radio magazine. You can always be a part of Kutztown Live by giving us a call at 610-683-4859. And now, this is Kutztown Live.
Welcome back, everyone, to the radio voice of Kutztown University, KUR. I am your host, Laura Keim, with my very special co-host,
Juliana Jablonski. Hello, hello. Good afternoon.
Hi, welcome. We have a very exciting show tonight. I don't know what time it is. We also today have, our good friend Lori D'Onofrio Galli from the Northeast Berks Chamber of Commerce, and she has a very special guest. We have Trisha Gillott from the Women's Center, and we also have Dr. John Kremser, the chair of the Criminal Justice Department. So we've got a lot of great stuff. I would first like to introduce, though, Lori D'Onofrio Galli from the Northeast Berks Chamber of Commerce.
Hello, Laura and Juliana. Thanks for having me today.
Thanks for coming.
We love having you here.
Well, thank you. We love being here and sharing all the information about our upcoming events and programming with the Northeast Berks Chamber. For up-to-date information on all that we offer, please visit us at northeastberkschamber.com. Coming up in March for our monthly breakfast meeting, and that'll be held on Friday, March 15th at Mazellum Springs Golf Club, we have Dr. Caitlin Foss, who is an educator, and she will be our keynote presenter on the topic of how businesses connect generations. Basically, summarizing that, it will be how do baby boomers work with millennials? And I do that myself, so I think that'll be a very interesting and relevant topic. Our nonprofit partner presenter that day will be John Scott from Community First Fund, and our breakfast program will be sponsored by Berks Schuylkill SCORE. Again, visit our website for up-to-date information on all of our monthly programs. Today, from 4:30 to 6:30, we are organizing a ribbon-cutting event with Precision Healthcare. That's located in the Cross Keys Shopping Center in Leesport, and this will represent a grand opening for their Berks office. Their corporate office is based in Orwigsburg. That is open to members and their guests, and that is at 10 East Winco Lane, Unit 10C, again, in the Cross Keys Shopping Center. Today, we're very excited to introduce our guest, Dr. Ernie Post, here from Kutztown University Small Business Development Center, which is now the lead office in the state. I was fortunate to be invited to the grand opening, which was held in September. So welcome, Ernie. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you, Laura. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, we certainly know there are many facets to the Small Business Development Center, and that they help small businesses start, grow, and prosper, which is your tagline from your website. Today, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about the services that are offered at either low or no cost to entrepreneurs, and how you can impact those people with ideas and a passion for a business, a new business, a startup, some of the ways that you can help businesses grow. And those who are already established, how do you help them to survive and be profitable? So let's start with new businesses. What's the number one question that you're asked by startups or entrepreneurs? What is on that startup checklist?
Yeah, that's a great question, Lori. Really, most of our clients that are in that early stage really want to be assured that they're following the steps and not violating any legal issues, and making sure that they're forming the business entity in the best structure that will benefit them, or keep them legal and operating efficiently. So most businesses have to decide, are they going to stay sole proprietor, or go to a limited liability corporation or an S corporation in terms of structure. So those are some of the key things.
Now, I know that you certainly have many resources. You also run programs and classes for people who are considering starting a business. Why don't you tell us a little bit about those offerings?
Right. So for those that are starting a business, we just launched our every 2 weeks a webinar on, it's called our First Step webinar from the lead office, and we're doing this for anybody in the Commonwealth that is, at that early start phase. I facilitate it, and then I have invited in 2 of our attorneys from the legal clinic at Penn State who offer pro bono services. That pro bono means their services are free. They will help a small business owner file the documentation and advise them on legal matters, where we as an SBDC are not allowed to give legal advice, but these 2 individuals can. And they have law students at the Penn State Law Clinic that are able to work with a client that may be referred. The other attorney is an intellectual property attorney, so she helps early stage entrepreneurs understand what intellectual property they might have that can be protected. Then we have our representative from our Small Business Administration on, and she talks about all the resources from SBA. We have also our business consultant, Keisha Sturdivant, is usually on talking about the pitch and resources that we have at the SBDC to help our clients get the business plan launched and to go for funding. And around funding, we just hired Marcia McGavis, who is our Director of Capital Acquisition. She plays a dual role. She's helping our KU SBDC Center with clients that need capital. And she's also helping build capacity throughout our state network with consultants. She has over 20 years of commercial credit expertise.
For the webinar, how would a person access that? Through your website? Is there an e-newsletter to which a person can subscribe?
Yeah, they can go to the pasbdc.org website and register for that webinar. It's no cost. We are actually having one tomorrow, and I still have room in there.
Okay, great.
From noon to 1:30. If anybody wants to register today. And we do that, like I said, every 2 weeks on a Wednesday from noon to 1:30.
All right. So a business is established and it wants to grow or expand. How can you help that business person?
So we run a number of specialty programs. One, we have created a social media program that is called the 5D social media program that helps our clients from understanding their SEO, reports for their website, and we coach them on how to improve their website and to work with their webmaster on those issues. We also run analytics for them about their social media and talk about different strategies and work with them to develop those strategies to, first of all, determine what are going to be their best platforms, social media platforms to be on, and how do they measure success, what's working and what's not working, and what keywords might be critical for them to use. So that's a new service. We also have international trade specialists to work with companies that want to expand into foreign markets, and we have a government procurement program that works with seasoned companies that want to grow and do business with some of the prime contractors that maybe have military contracts. When you look at both the state and the federal government purchases about 20% of the gross national product. And the state in there, even institutions like Kutztown University is a state-owned university that has to put out public bids. So there's opportunities there for small businesses to participate in some of that market.
While you're on the topic of social media and social media marketing, we're working together on a committee to plan for Entrepreneurial Leadership Week here at Kutztown University. That'll be held the last week of March. And I know that the SBDC will be organizing several workshops, and I believe at least one is related to social media.
Correct. And that will be led by our graduate student team that runs that program. They will offer an hour-and-a-half program around the 5D social media plan. So we know we have a number of students, many, are artists in the crafts or have little side businesses that they're doing, and they simply want to stop in and learn how to do things better and avail themselves of the services. These classes are also open to the general public, so we invite the general public to join us here on campus during that week for all of our programming as well.
And there's no cost.
There's no cost.
There's no
for this.
cost. It's a great week of keynote presentations, workshops, panel discussions, and they're all open to the public, as you said, and all free of charge.
Correct.
Can you talk about any success stories, whether you name the company in the Northeast Berks region, in and around the Kutztown area, types of businesses that have worked with the SBDC?
Yeah, well, there's one here in town who has won the SBA Regional Award for International Exporter of the Year. Colorfin, some of our local folks may know, and they have worked with us in expanding overseas into foreign markets. Colorfin is very active for a company of their size in the international arena, and they're really should be highlighted as a prime example of how a company in their formative years can still grow and expand in foreign markets with the right amount of persistence and dedication to that strategy.
I was fortunate to tour their manufacturing facility as they are a member of the Northeast Berks Chamber. So that was really interesting, and I was aware of that award. So that is a great story of recognition. Is there anything else you want to talk about related to any kind of targeted services or tools or resources that are available to entrepreneurs?
Yeah, well, our website, the KUSBDC website, so if you Google Kutztown University SBDC, that will take you to our local website. And on that website, we have always been very proud of the fact that we get listed nationally as one of the top 10 websites in the country for free online resources for entrepreneurs. So in any given year, we have usually over 50,000 people partaking of some of our online training resources. And that website has a number of resources available for both established entrepreneurs and early stage entrepreneurs. And those are all free of charge as well.
I know that many businesses and entrepreneurs are often surprised how many free or low-cost resources are available to them. So it's a fantastic service. Would you like to take a few minutes to tell us how you got involved in this line of work and what led you into the Small Business Development Center?
Sure. I started out after high school. I actually bought my family dairy farm at a young age and did that for about 5 years. Forestalling going back to college until I was about 22. But after about 4 years of dairy farming, I realized I didn't want to do that the rest of my life. So I eventually started at college, and then eventually found that I also liked working with people, but I also liked the business side. So an opportunity came open in upstate New York to become a consultant for the SBDC at Jamestown Community College. So that's how I started over 20 years ago in the field of the SBDC network, and then I became the director at Gannon University for about 8 years, and then moved down here to Kutztown to become the center director. And last year, as you know, in July, we were designated the lead office for all of the centers in Pennsylvania. So that's the new role that we're taking on while still managing our local center,
Yes.
which we serve five
Yeah, I know that
counties.
was very exciting. Well, you're a tremendous resource for the SBDC.
Well, thank you.
Thank
and
you.
You're a great referral source as well.
Thank you.
Provide a lot of good networking opportunities.
That was very interesting, actually. I didn't know any of that. I didn't even know that the Small Business Development Center existed. I just actually have one question for you. Do you feel that there is something that is underutilized that your center offers that you feel that small business owners should be more aware of?
Yeah, I think probably what's most underutilized that a number of local businesses might not realize we offer is the search engine optimization report and the help with social media. The other thing that it sometimes gets overlooked is that we will help a business package their loan package. So before they go to the bank, we will help them get ready to go to the bank so that they can put their best foot forward, so to speak, in going in to request that loan.
That sounds really beneficial for small business owners. Thank you so much for offering that opportunity for everybody.
Sure. And we are located in Old Main.
That was going to be my next question. Where are you located, and how can people get in contact with you with questions or anything?
Yeah, there's a couple different ways. They can email SBDC for Small Business Development Center, the SBDC, at kutztown.edu. They can also call a toll-free number that's 877-4-PA-SBDC. That will also get you into our center. And they can register for services. The one thing we do ask everybody to do is sign a client confidentiality form. So that's done online, and they can go to either the Kutztown University SBDC website or PA SBDC website to register for free confidential consulting.
Okay, and who can come see you in Old Main? Any students? Anyone from the Kutztown community?
Anybody from the community. We do not work with organizations that are structured solely as nonprofit, but sometimes we have a nonprofit that also forms a for-profit underneath them. In that case, we're able to work with the for-profit aspect of the nonprofit, if that makes any sense. So that's the only criteria, is that the business should be a for-profit entity. And sometimes a early stage entrepreneur doesn't really know if they're going to form as a nonprofit or for-profit. Mm-hmm. So we can work with them up until the point they decide they definitely need to be a nonprofit.
All right. Well,
okay.
Thank you so very much for coming in to the KUR studios this afternoon. It has been wonderful.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thank you.
We'll be right back with more of Kutztown Live.
The Northeast Berks Chamber of Commerce is your premier resource and voice for trusted local business. The Chamber advances regional economic and cultural growth through supportive collaboration with business and community organizations, as well as government. For more information, call the Northeast Berks Chamber of Commerce at 610-683-8860. That's 610-683-8860, or visit their website at northeastberkschamber.com.
Since the early 70s, Friends Incorporated, located at 658D Noble Street in Kutztown, has helped thousands of families in northeastern Berks County strengthen relationships with themselves and their community through a wide range of outreach services. Every family and individual is offered case management services, food pantry assistance, counseling, support groups, and program referrals. Contact Friend Incorporated at 610-683-7790. That's 610-683-7790. Or visit their website, www.friendinc.org. Friend Incorporated, helping our neighbors to strengthen our community.
Ray's Pizza di Sogno is the newest buzz on Main Street. Located at 478 West Main, Ray's has specialty Italian pinwheels, handmade mozzarella, and hot slices at the ready. To order your favorites, dial 484-648-2720. That's 484-648-2720. Or order online at rayspizzadisogno.com. That's rayspizza.dasogno.com. Mention KU Radio for a special treat. Integrity Services and Solutions is a local independent insurance agency specializing in employee benefits, Medicare plans, and human resource services. True personal service with a commitment to excellence. Integrity Services and Solutions, 610-939-9593. That's 610-939-9593, or on the web at www.integrityservicesandsolutions.com. Integrity Services and Solutions is a member of the Northeast Berks Chamber of Commerce, a 501c6 which helps members grow business relationships, raise business profiles, attract new customers, and partner with area nonprofits and schools to promote collaboration and goodwill.
This is the radio voice of Kutztown University, KUR Kutztown. Hello and welcome back to Kutztown Live, Kutztown University's campus and community talk show. I am Juliana, here with
Laura, and we are very excited to be here today. You just heard from Lori D'Onofrio-Galli from the Northeast Berks Chamber of Commerce, and a very special guest of hers from the Small Business Development Center here at KU.
Dr. Ernie Post.
Yes.
And here with us now this afternoon, we have Trisha to talk to us about things going on at the Women's Center. Hello and welcome to Kutztown Live.
Hi, thank you. I'm very excited to be here and talk about some interesting things.
Well, we are excited to have you here this afternoon.
Great. Awesome. Do you mind telling us a little bit first about what the Women's Center does and what you're in the process of working on here at the Women's Center?
Sure, yeah. The Women's Center is located in Old Main, 126. We are pretty much just a space for anyone to come into, and we have a nice library so you can select books from it. We have 2 student computers that you can work at as well. And it also has a printer, so if you need to quickly print something before class, things like that. And then, so my ultimate role and position there is to be the heart at KU graduate assistant. So that ultimately means that I need to be the heart certified. So that means I need to have 66 hours of training from Safe Berks to become a domestic violence and sexual assault survivor advocate. I am currently not trained in that. I'm going through the training currently. But I still am able to give presentations regarding sexual assault and domestic violence or relationship violence to freshmen, juniors, seniors, all different kinds of classes. I've had a lot of first-year seminar professors ask me to do presentations, and then I just actually last week on Thursday did one on for a health class as well.
Oh, that's really exciting. I'm assuming you enjoy being that opportunity, but do you feel that it has made an impact on the women's issues and stuff here on campus?
Yes, definitely. I was just looking at the surveys that I give out for the presentation, and a lot of them have said that what I'm doing is very eye-opening. It's informative. It has really showed them some information that they really weren't aware of beforehand. For example, one of the parts of the presentation focuses on relationship violence, and I think that going into the presentation, most people think that they have some sort of idea about a healthy relationship, but unfortunately, they watch a 5-minute video and I give a handout about 10 signs of an unhealthy relationship, and I think they're walking away from it not realizing that some of the signs are currently present in either their relationships or in their friends' relationships, and so it can be pretty impactful.
Interesting. So what kind of signs would you be talking about?
I actually brought the handout with me today just in case I was asked that question. So ultimately, one of them could be like intensity. If having a really extreme feelings or over-the-top behavior that feels like too much. Examples can be rushing the pace of a relationship. If they're kind of pushing to get into a relationship after a week of meeting, or if they tell you that they love you a week into being in a relationship, that can be kind of a sign that maybe it's going a little too quick. One thing that I don't think people realize also is not a good sign is volatility, which is pretty much unpredictable or overreactions to situations that shouldn't produce a very exaggerated reaction. It's that feeling of walking on eggshells around your partner. I don't think people consider that one a lot. This one's not necessarily a sign, but it's a type of relationship abuse or abuse in general, and it's called digital abuse. And that's when your partner is possibly controlling your social media, asking for your passwords, going through your text messages, all those kind of things. And I think that because we have really normalized social media and started utilizing social media in how we interact with people, we kind of started to normalize some of those behaviors, like quote unquote blowing up somebody's phone. And that's one of the things that most people are like, they're like, I never even knew that was a thing.
Wow, that's really interesting.
Yeah, I know there's like this kind of, I don't know if you have an opinion on this or want to say your opinion. Either way, you don't have to. I know there's like a big debate, like, do you give your partner your like phone password? Because now everyone's phone has like a password, and like there's a big thing. It's like, well, why wouldn't I? Well, why do I need to if they trust me? I don't know. if you have any perspective on that. That's like, I don't know, just I hear that a lot.
Yeah. I mean, when it becomes unhealthy is when there's no communication and it's all about lines and boundaries. So if you're in a healthy relationship, it's okay to feel comfortable with your partner seeing stuff on your phone and saying, hey, if you need to, or say, okay, for example, say you're driving and you get a text message and it's important, or you were expecting a text message, it's definitely okay to be like, hey, can you look at this text message for me and read it to me and then reply and then give them your password in that time. When it stops being okay is when they start demanding your password and start demanding that they see text messages and that they have access to those kind of things. When there's a demand for it, that's probably going to indicate that there's something more going on.
And that happens with any gender in a relationship, right? Like,
right.
It's just more of, that can be in any type of situation that's not exclusive to heterosexual relationships, right?
Correct, yeah. We are starting to really start switching our language and starting to really neutralize our language and how we talk about relationship violence and sexual assault, because we are becoming way more aware that this stuff doesn't discriminate. These issues do not care what gender you are, what socioeconomic status you are, what race you are. It doesn't care. It happens to anybody.
Okay, so that sounds like a pretty common misconception, at least for as far as some things that I've experienced and through conversations with people, that, you know, some will say, oh, you know, it's not, you know, it's only this gender or that gender doing these things or whatever. And do you feel that there are any other misconceptions that you feel should be cleared up?
The one that so when I give these presentations and I talk about these things, I do typically talk in terms of a victim being female and the perpetrator or the abuser being male. That is partly because statistically we have seen it to be more common in that kind of like binary in a sense. But I don't think there's enough conversation around male survivors of abuse and male survivors of sexual assault. Unfortunately, there is a resource out there called 1 in 6, and they have dedicated their whole mission to educating people about male survivors. And it's super awesome. We are actually going to host 1 in 6 next, I want to say the fall. That's very tentative. We haven't officially booked them yet, but we are most likely going to have them. And they're going to come and they're going to show a project called the Bristle Cone Project. And it's pretty much just outlining male survivor stories. And then they will also include a discussion afterwards about it. And I think that's going to do a lot in the terms of having the conversation about male survivors, because most people think that it doesn't happen to them, but it does. And then in addition to that, most people think that if a male was sexually assaulted, that he's not a man or he's not male enough anymore. And I mean, that whole logic, it just doesn't make sense to me, but you know.
So that's from at least what I've observed in my everyday living. Obviously, I haven't done like extensive research, but in just kind of interacting in the world, I've noticed that that's causes a lot of disconnection in our society. Do you feel that that's true? And if so, do you feel that we can fix it? How?
I do feel that disconnect, and I see it. I hear it in conversations with a lot of older individuals, and I think that's just because they grew up in a time where they didn't talk about these things. And so I think if we want to clear that up and we want to keep progressing and keep moving, then we just need to keep talking about those issues. I've tried really hard to include more information about male survivors. It's hard because the research really isn't as out there as much as I would have liked it to be. But I'm looking to always improve. So hopefully over the summer when I revamp the presentation, I can include even more. So.
Okay, that sounds great. And so what are some of the other programs and things that the Women's Center offers?
Well, the one that we will be offering soon is called the Escalation Workshop. This one is specifically focused on relationship violence. It is through the One Love Foundation, and the One Love Foundation was created or started by a parent of a daughter that was murdered by her boyfriend when she tried to leave him or break up with him. The number one in One Love stands for her number one as being her jersey because she was a lacrosse player. And then Love is her last name. And so they have dedicated their whole mission to educating people on the 10 signs of unhealthy relationship and everything like that. So the escalation workshop is a roughly 40-minute video that takes you through the escalation of an unhealthy relationship. And I'm not going to give away the end because the end is probably the most powerful part of it, but it's definitely worth coming to and watching. And then after the video, we do a discussion. They provide discussion questions for us, and it can just be a really eye-opening and powerful workshop to go to. So,
wow, that's really exciting. And so when is that?
Oh, I'm not fully sure because I don't remember the dates in my head. Let me look at and see if I have a calendar.
All right. Is there somewhere like online that we can go and find this kind of information?
Yes, all of our events should be on our Facebook page. So we are pretty active on social media. We have a Facebook page, an Instagram, and a Twitter. And we are thankful enough that we do have a professional writing intern who does handle a lot of our social media. Our escalation workshop is scheduled for Wednesday, March 6th from 6 p.m. to 7:30 in the MSU 157.
Oh, that's really exciting. And that's free and open to anybody?
Yes.
Excellent. Okay. And so what other programs are going to be offered throughout the semester, if there are any more, or like what are you guys looking ahead to?
Okay. Well, very soon is the Vagina Monologues. That is a pretty known event that we do. FMLA is the organization that kind of puts that on, and then we just help out with it. That is this coming Thursday and Friday from 7 p.m. and that's in the Schaefer Auditorium. That is not free. That is $5 with a KU ID. That whole event is interesting in the sense that it is bringing it's based on Eve Ensler's award-winning play, The Vagina Monologues. And so it's just various students and other members. I mean, it's not all students that are putting on a monologue, but then they ultimately read a monologue regarding a vagina. So.
Okay. Interesting. And that happens every year, doesn't
Yes.
it? Did that happen last year?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I feel like I saw a sign about that.
Yeah. One time I took an interpersonal women gender studies communication class, and we had to go to see it for our class, and it was definitely interesting.
It's definitely an experience. It's an experience for people that may not be comfortable hearing the word vagina or comfortable saying the word vagina or comfortable with some of the things that come along with talking about a vagina. And that's the whole point of it, is to empower people with saying it, talking about it, and bringing light to that whole topic.
It's very interesting. Okay. So how does the Women's Center work? You can just come in at any time, or do you guys have certain hours or anything?
As far as people just coming to hang out, anyone can come in from 8 a.m. to 4:30, Monday through Friday. I'm there Tuesday through Thursday from 8 to 4. So if you want to hang out with me, I'll be there those times. But yeah, you can just come in at any time. There's, it's a good place to hang out. It's very quiet. So if you do need a quiet space to just kind of chill out in between classes or get your homework done, it is ideal for that.
Oh, that's perfect. Okay, well, great. And is there anything else you'd like to add about the Women's Center that you feel should be well known on campus about it?
Yes, actually. Are you familiar with It's On Us?
Not very. I've heard the name, but I don't know a whole lot about it.
Okay. Most people know it through the poster campaign, all those It's On Us posters that are around campus. It is a national initiative or organization that was started 4 years ago by Vice President Joe Biden, ultimately recognizing that sexual assault on college campuses is super prevalent. And so they started this movement in recognition to have more of a bystander intervention type based organization. So you're not just letting things happen, you're actively going to intervene in those situations. And we are now starting a KU chapter for it. And our first meeting is actually tonight at 4 in the Women's Center Oasis, which is Old Main 3. And so that will happen every week on Tuesdays. And we just want to get more students involved and plan more events and bring more awareness to it.
That sounds great.
Yeah, well, thank you so very much for coming in to the KUR studios this afternoon. It was lovely to have you.
Thank you so much.
And we will be right back and hearing an interview from Dr. John Kremser.
Yeah. We'll be here only on the radio voice of Kutztown University, KUR.
Power Marketing International provides leading-edge web design and marketing services to help businesses get found online, impress and engage viewers, and convert them into repeat customers. PowerMarketingInternational.com for more information. That's PowerMarketingInternational.com. Power Marketing International is a member of the Northeast Berks Chamber of Commerce, a 501c6 which helps members grow business relationships, raise business profiles, attract new customers, and partner with area nonprofits and schools to promote collaboration and goodwill. Robert Geringer, located at 100 Tomahawk Drive in Kutztown, is a certified orthopedic manual therapist as well as a board-certified clinical specialist in both sports and orthopedics. Bob specializes in the treatment of neck and back pain and believes in an intensive hands-on approach to treating his patients, emphasizing both corrective manual techniques and exercises to facilitate the changes in patient response during each session. 484-426-2021. That's 484-426-2021 for more information. Robert Geringer is affiliated with physical therapy at St. Luke's and is a member of the Northeast Berks Chamber of Commerce, a 501c6 which helps members grow business relationships, raise business profiles, attract new customers, and partner with area nonprofits and schools to promote collaboration and goodwill. Celebrate Together Event Rentals and Design is based in northern Berks County and specializes in creating customized celebrations that fit the client's style and budget. Whether it be holiday parties, ribbon cuttings, birthdays, anniversaries, or weddings, if you can celebrate it, we can decorate it is their motto. Celebrate Together Event Rentals and Design offers free consultations by voice or text. 610-763-9336. That's 610-763-9336. Celebrate Together Event Rentals and Design is a member of the Northeast Berks Chamber of Commerce, a 501c6 which helps members grow business relationships, raise business profiles, attract new customers, and partner with area nonprofits and schools to promote collaboration and goodwill.
Welcome back to Kutztown Live. I am your host, Laura Keim, and I am happy to have you here. You're listening on the radio voice of Kutztown University, KUR. We just heard from Trisha Gillott from the Women's Center talking about the escalation workshop, and before that was Lori D'Onofrio-Galli from the Northeast Berks Chamber of Commerce, and we are very grateful to have them both here and heard the wonderful things they had to say. But up next, we have Dr. John Kremser from the Criminal Justice Department here at Kutztown University, coming to talk a little bit about the Criminal Justice Speaker Series and some other really exciting things that the Criminal Justice Department is doing on campus. So, hello, Dr. Kremser. How are you?
Good afternoon.
Nice to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, of course. So, what can you tell me about the Criminal Justice Department? What are they up to right now?
We're very busy. We have a lot of events going on. Of course, we always do. Primarily the Speaker Series events this semester. This is, of course, a continuing event. We are also actively involved in the major organizations within criminal justice, specifically the American Society of Criminology, which is every November. We have our faculty that present their research at that event, and upcoming in March is the Academy of Criminal Justice Sciences. Many of the faculty from the Criminal Justice Department will be presenting their research down at the ACJS conference in Baltimore.
Oh, wow. That's really exciting. Okay. Yeah. That's great. So some of these things that are on campus, such as like the the Speaker Series that you were just saying, what can you tell me about that?
Okay, so we have speakers we bring to campus, and they discuss critical issues and we bring our distinguished speakers on campus to either talk about them or we have panel discussions about the critical topic. For example, last year we had Dr. Peter Langman, and he presented, of course, a timely topic inside the mind of the school shooter, and he did the presentation for our campus community as well as local law enforcement.
Wow. And
last semester we had representative from the FBI talking about sexual predators.
That's really fascinating. So that was last semester. Do you feel that impacted the students of the criminal justice program here?
Yes, it's highly supported by the students. Of course, a lot of them are interested in the line of work in which our speakers are working currently. So coming up, we, of course, have another important topic dealing with the opioid epidemic in Pennsylvania.
Oh, wow. Okay. So what do you feel is the most important thing for a listener to know about the opioid crisis here in Pennsylvania right now?
Well, it's a major problem. Just some of the background on the crisis. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC, ranks Pennsylvania the third highest in the nation for the amount of overdose deaths. And we're seeing a large number dying from drug overdoses, particularly the past couple years. And now we're seeing mixtures of fentanyl and cocaine increasingly showing up in the bodies of, at the medical examiner's office.
Oh, wow.
So what we're focusing on for our next event is just addressing some of this, the problem that's been going on, not just in Pennsylvania, but also nationwide. But Pennsylvania has been particularly hard hit by the opioid epidemic.
Okay. Do you have a hypothesis as to why that would be, or is that something that the speaker is going to talk a lot about?
Well, they're going to get into some more detail about this. Of course, it's the prescribing of painkillers over the past couple of decades, increase in the prescription and management of pain, leading to increased addiction, and that there's been a problem addressing this at the criminal justice level because we're not going to be able to arrest our way out of this problem. So we have limitations on criminal justice on what we can do to address the crisis. For example, we have many police departments in Pennsylvania. There are over 1,000 police departments. Many people are surprised to learn that, and over 70% of them have fewer than 10 officers. And that being said, a lot of the municipalities in Pennsylvania lack any local police, and they rely on state police for their protection. And despite all of this, over 5,200 opioid-related deaths just in 2017 alone. Only 261 suspects that were involved in the sale of opioids were criminally charged. So we're not going to be able to address this criminally. It's something that's going to involve a lot of different agencies, and that's where the speaker series is going. The speakers are from diverse backgrounds. For example, we have three speakers that are going to talk about this topic. Ray Barashansky, who's the Deputy Secretary of Health Preparedness and Community Protection at the Pennsylvania Department of Health. So he's been involved with the governor's office in addressing the epidemic. Jeffrey Polk, who's the Director of Operations at Safe Harbors. They address homelessness in the Easton area. And James Thomas, Sergeant at Lower Windsor Township Police Department.
Okay. Wow. That sounds like heavy stuff.
Yes.
What do you expect, that you have criminal justice majors as well as other majors coming to this speaker series?
It's an interdisciplinary topic, so we're going to have a diverse range of attendees at the event. Okay, great. And you feel that you can't necessarily arrest your way out of this, as you say. Mm-hmm.
What do you see as a solution? What collaborations and what organizations do you feel would have a good impact on improving the opioid crisis here in Pennsylvania?
Right. So there are a lot of different approaches that have been taken in Pennsylvania alone over the past year. For example, the governor's come out with an initiative, an emergency declaration or emergency proclamation that enhances coordination among agencies. So they enhance coordination, improving state and local responses, collaborative approaches between state police and healthcare. For example, first responders, better data collection, improving the tools for our first responders, and the creation of a statistical network. We call it ODIN. It's a Pennsylvania Overdose Information Network, which combines statistical and investigative data. So it's actually the first of its kind database in the United States.
Oh, wow.
So what it's doing is it's assisting law enforcement across jurisdictions, and also better coordination between law enforcement and healthcare, and getting individuals who are involved in this crisis the help that they need.
Okay, so that's really interesting. And do many people who come out of Kutztown with criminal justice degrees, do they end up going into the first responding workforce or in that area?
Yes, a lot of our students go into policing, as well as probation work, social work fields, working with youth, and also in corrections, and many other agencies that might be involved with this problem.
Okay, that's really great. And do you feel that these types of speakers do really impact and really push our students to be well prepared for the field that they enter?
Absolutely. What the speakers would do is they give them a different perspective, just like the day-to-day, fresh from the field perspective of what the speakers and professionals in the field are dealing with, and some of the challenges.
Okay, that's really interesting. And so, can you tell me a little bit? Are we at Kutztown are any of the professors or any of the faculty here doing any research on the opioid epidemic right now?
Well, actually, I did a presentation on the governor's proclamation. My research discussed what was going on and the impact of the proclamation, the immediate impact, since it's fairly new. And I did that presentation for a group of police executives, international group of police executives at the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime in Vienna, which was this past August.
Wow, that's really great. And so, do you foresee more research being done, do you think?
Yes, absolutely. There's probably more research coming out on the impact of our initiatives, such as the database, the data collection. How's the data collection going to impact our response? I think that's going to be the next step in addressing the crisis. And also, collaborative work is critical. We can't just be isolated. You can't just have law enforcement and then healthcare and other first responders working in silos, but rather they have to coordinate efforts to address the problem.
Interesting. So how do you think that the collaboration could be better? Like what do you foresee making better collaboration happen between those areas?
Data sharing.
Okay.
That's basically what we're seeing. We're seeing better data collection and better sharing of data, in which we can identify specific areas where this is a problem, called hotspots in criminal justice. But if we can target certain areas where we're noticing this to be a problem, that's where I see it going immediately. Okay, great. All right. And do you feel that there are any common misconceptions about the opioid epidemic that you'd like to share with us, or about Pennsylvania or in the United States as a whole? Right. The misconception, I think the most common one is that this only affects certain people. Maybe, it's just an urban problem or just problem among poor people, but it's not. It cuts across all demographics, socioeconomic levels. I think that's the message that needs to get out there. Okay, great. Awesome. And so what other speakers are going to be coming up this semester? So, we have, we have a Career Day event coming up. Oh, great. So that pulls in speakers from the field from other agencies. It's scheduled for Wednesday, April 24th. And we have a number of panels that take place throughout the day. And the panels include federal law enforcement, state police, probation, private and nonprofit agency, courts, local and city police, corrections, as well as security and asset protection. Wow. Okay. That seems like a lot of really important topics that would be relevant to a criminal justice major. It's a popular event, and it's very well attended, and a lot of our students they benefit from that event. Great. Okay. That's the only other, is there more speakers that are going to be here on campus, or is that like the hotspot from when the rest of them are going to be here? That's the next event, and so we're working on upcoming events as well. Okay, great, awesome. So
you jumping back a little bit to the event last semester, or was it last year? You said that was the school shooter event. Have you seen a change within the student body, or within the maybe just the criminal justice community within Kutztown? Do you feel that has impacted our students here well?
They come out of that event with a broader knowledge of school shooters, like who the school shooters are, and how can we best prepare, as far as prevention against a school shooting. We know that statistically it's not a very common event, and that's another misconception. People think that school shootings happen all the time, but they're actually quite rare events. Fortunately, they're quite rare. So we don't have a whole lot of data on the school shooters, and that was one of the messages that came out of our speaker event last year. So the data tend to be very limited, since they are such rare events.
Okay, that's very fascinating, actually. Do you think that there are going to be, is the Criminal Justice Department working on more research for that as well, or are you guys focusing on the opioid crisis right now? Are there other areas that they're really focusing right now?
The department specifically, we have a diverse range of interests within the department as far as research. So my area is actually violent crime, school violence, and school security.
Okay.
And some of the other faculty members, they focus on like police use of force, humanitarian issues, crime in Africa, and a lot of different areas of research, prisoner reentry, for example, as well as crime analysis. So we we do some collaboration, and that's always an area of opportunity for us, so we can collaborate on some of this research. As far as the school shooting, the problem with the school shooters, that's something that comes and goes. Depends on the media. The Parkland shooting, of course, it drew a lot of attention last year. It was this time last year. It was last February 14th, and then there was a lot of interest in further research and initiatives to address school shootings. And then over a period of time, then of course that declines, it goes away, and then as money evaporates, don't have money for school police officers anymore, so then that goes away until the next event. Unfortunately, that's usually how it occurs. It goes on those cycles.
Very interesting. Okay, so what do you think is the most important thing to be researching right now in the criminal justice area?
In this area, well, school violence is always at the forefront. Keeping the schools safe. The opioid crisis, of course, is a priority right now in Harrisburg, and those are I would say those are the two critical initiatives right now.
That's great. Okay, that sounds really, really helpful. What else would you like to share about the Criminal Justice Department, or anything else that you feel is really important that people should know?
Well, we have a large department. Our students go into many different agencies upon graduation. They're in federal law enforcement. They go into state. They go into juvenile probation and parole, as well as corrections in the private sector. So we have a very dynamic department that draws in a lot of our students that go into various fields. So that's something that we're very proud of. We have a dedicated faculty, and we also have quite a robust internship program. We place our students in a lot of different agencies, and many of them go into the field directly out of their internship placement.
Oh, that's great. Okay, so what type of internships does Kutztown generally try and place people in? Like what type of, agencies, I guess is my question.
Sure. Agencies, they range. There's probation, juvenile probation, and as well as adult. Those are quite popular. Local police departments are always popular. We place students in federal law enforcement, for example, U.S. Marshals Service. I had students in the U.S. Marshals in Camden, New Jersey, as well as up in the Scranton area. Other agencies include reentry programs, as well as parole, state parole. So it's just a diverse range of agencies our students go into.
Wow, that sounds really interesting. Is there anything else you'd like to add or you think is really important?
Well, we'd like to see a strong attendance at our next event.
Okay.
Tuesday, that will be Tuesday, February 19th in the Alumni Auditorium here in the Sub, and that will be at 6 o'clock.
Perfect. All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Kremser. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
All right, everybody, we will be taking a short break. Thank you so much for tuning into Kutztown Live. We'll be right back, only here on the radio voice of Kutztown University, KUR.
Listening to
KUR, the radio voice of Kutztown University. On air at 1670 AM. Streaming online at www.kutztown.edu/KUR. At select times of the day on Service Electric, Berks Channel 24. Hometown Utilicom Channel 191. Service Electric Lehigh Channel 266. On your smartphone using a free app like TuneIn. You can listen to KUR anywhere you have a phone. Like that landline just by dialing 563-999-3101. You can also hear your favorite KU Radio programming at any time on mixcloud.com/KU Radio. It's your favorite shows whenever you want them. KUR, Kutztown University's source for music, talk, and everything in between.
From Feature Story News in Washington, I'm Harry Horton. The fashion designer Karl Lagerfeld, one of the most prolific fashion figures of the 20th and 21st centuries, has died at the age of 85. The Indian Army says it's wiped out the leadership in the Kashmir Valley of the militant group behind last week's deadly attack in the region. And US Senator Bernie Sanders has announced that he'll seek the presidency again in 2020.
Local news continues on your news leader here in northeastern Berks County, KUR, Kutztown. KUR would like to remind you before we get into the day's regular news that whenever foul weather is forecast or is happening, you can get up-to-date information on our Kutztown University Radio Facebook. Just search up Kutztown University Radio on Facebook. Senate Democrats are throwing their support behind Governor Wolf's proposal to raise Pennsylvania's minimum wage to $12 an hour by July. Story comes to us from the state capitol.
Senator Vincent Hughes says that with a minimum wage of $7.25 an hour, Pennsylvania law is producing some unintended consequences.
When we pay folks $7.25 an hour, by law, we are mandating that they live below the federal poverty level. The law drives people into poverty.